Hello everyone, my name is Anne Jardin. I'm a professor in the Center of Exploration and Production at IFP School. In this session, I will explore the sedimentary basins where geologists search for oil and gas fields. Firstly, I will define the concept of petroleum systems. Secondly, I will explain how geologists simulate the petroleum system process with basin modeling to guide hydrocarbon exploration. Finally, I will briefly describe the main characteristics of petroleum regions all around the world. To discover hydrocarbons, you must explore the Earth, but not only the present-day surface geology, also the evolution of the Earth throughout the whole geological times. Earth's history extends over a very long period of 540 million years from the beginning of the Paleozoic period until the present day, which is the latest part of the Cenozoic era. So, are you ready now to explore the Earth to find oil? Hydrocarbon fields are discovered in sedimentary basins. These basins are now spread over the continents, shown here in brown, and oceans in blue. Accumulation of sediments deposited on the seafloor has formed sedimentary basins, which have been deformed over the years by tectonic movements. Studying petroleum exploration means answering the next three questions. Which are the main geological features at the present day and during past times? When were hydrocarbons generated? Is it possible to find large accumulations of oil and gas in this basin? To help answer these questions, geologists have developed a key concept called the petroleum system. A petroleum system includes all the parameters required for hydrocarbon accumulations to exist. It's characterized by three main components related to geology. The presence of a source rock. This is the rock which could produce hydrocarbons from its preserved organic matter. It's generally an impermeable rock, such as thin sediments or shales. The presence of a reservoir rock. This is the rock in which hydrocarbons are accumulated over time. It's a permeable rock, such as carbonates or sandstones. The presence of a seal rock. This is the rock which prevents hydrocarbon leaks. Seal rocks are impermeable rocks, such as salt or shales. The petroleum system is also characterized by dynamic processes due to fluid movement. The first process is the migration of hydrocarbons. Once the organic matter has been transformed to oil or gas, hydrocarbons could be expelled from the source rock under specific conditions. Then, hydrocarbons continue to move across the permeable sediments and faults to reach the reservoir rocks. This migration can take place over very short or long distances. Usually, this is a complex phenomenon depending on the geological history of the basin. The second process is called trapping. A large volume of hydrocarbon migrating into a trap results in fluid or gas accumulation, gas on top, water below, and oil in between. Geologists distinguish structural traps related to tectonic movements, such as anticlines and faults, and stratigraphic traps related to sedimentological variations, such as pinch-outs and lenses. Discovering reservoirs and traps is very challenging, especially in underexplored basins. So, to guide this difficult task, a modeling tool has been developed by geologists to simulate the basin geology and the hydrocarbon generation processes through geological times. Each step of the basin modeling is able to answer the key questions asked at the beginning of our session. We will now illustrate the three main steps by a basin modeling study. Remember, the first key question was, what's the present day and past geology? This can be answered by simulating the backward sedimentary deposition through times until retrieving the present day geology. In our example, backward geological models have been built from 113 million years until the present day, with a step of around 50 million years. Now, if we want to answer the second question, when was hydrocarbon generated, we proceed to the next step. Geologists can determine in which formation and at which geological period hydrocarbons were generated and became mature. In this example, the maturation of organic matter inside the source rock is displayed, and hydrocarbon maturation happened during the Cretaceous period. The last step of basin modeling is to answer the key questions. Is it possible to find large accumulations of oil and gas in this basin? This is done by simulating the various oil migration pathways. In this picture, once the oil has been generated, oil migration is modeled along directions indicated by small arrows. So, in conclusion, we can define a petroleum system when all the phenomena that make the accumulation of oil possible are present. And now we can summarize graphically by a table all the information we have explained. This table is called the petroleum system chart. As you can see, the first column of this chart shows the geological timetable. With three other columns, the geologist indicates the occurrence of source rocks, reservoir rocks, and seal rocks after they have been identified by basin analysis. The last columns present the timing for oil and gas generation and migration. Each possible trap in this basin is done schematically. Good timing between trap formation and hydrocarbon migration is very important. The trap must be formed before and during hydrocarbon migration, and the trap integrity must be preserved until a sufficient quantity of hydrocarbon has been generated to fill up the trap. Stars indicate the formations where accumulations could be present and which could become potential hydrocarbon reservoirs. Now that you know what the petroleum system is, let's briefly recognize the main petroleum regions in the world. Hydrocarbon exploration has been extensively developed over the past 70 years. The USA, where onshore and offshore exploration began at the first part of the 20th century, and the North Sea offshore basin, where exploration began in the 1970s, are good examples of extensive explored basins. Deep offshore zones with a water depth between 1 and 3 kilometers are more recently explored basins. The Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic margin, like offshore Brazil and West Africa, are the most prolific deep offshore areas. Exploration inside these regions requires risky and costly techniques. Frontier basins are the most recent areas for exploration. These zones require innovative techniques because of the difficulties of accessibility and climatic conditions. The Arctic is the most significant example of these frontier basins. A lot of challenges remain to discover new hydrocarbon resources, depending on the type of reservoir. These reservoirs range from deep-buried reservoirs in extensive exploration basins through high-pressure reservoirs, which make the drilling very risky in deep offshore basins, to ultra-deep offshore basins with a water depth of more than 3.5 kilometers, which are the most promising areas, but which also have the highest risk and costs. We have now reached the end of this session. We have been through the main methods used to explore sedimentary basins. Identifying new regions which could produce new hydrocarbon resources is still a challenge today, with very risky exploration entailing ever-increasing costs. So, I hope you found this information interesting. I look forward to meeting you again in the week to talk to you about subsurface imaging and hydrocarbon discovery. So, that's all for now. See you soon.